Hello, my name is Julio Diaz. Welcome to Guitar Memories. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce you an amazing guitarist, an amazing artist, Mike Amos. How are you,
How
Mike?
you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure to you being here on Guitar Memories. Thank you so much for accept this invitation. And can you talk a little bit about yourself, please?
All right, yeah. My name's Mike Ames. I'm in a band called Descent. We're a metal band from Dallas. I've been playing guitar since I was 12. Stopped for a little while. I used to tour with some national bands running the light show. And then I came back to guitar about 5, 6 years ago.
Oh, nice, nice, Mike. Well, um, just you said you start with the guitar to learn guitar um, when you was 12, right? And how was your process to, or uh, what inspired you to play guitar?
Gotcha. Okay. When I was younger than 12, I used to do Christian puppet ministries for like kids and stuff like that for like Sunday school. And so we had a bunch of like our little kids of us. We were older than the little kids, but we were still little kids. My buddy David Tyaman, he was my church buddy, and we would do the puppets, and then his older brother was like the director. He was like in the older brother program mentor thing kind of thing. And he was like the director of the Elijah and Company puppets company that we had, and we would go over to his house after the performances and stuff, and have like pizza parties and stuff like that. And he would jam on his guitar, like he'd play at a Strat, and he would just we'd just be sitting around the speakers like, wow, like this is crazy, And then I remember my buddy David, he'd always do the drums on a drum machine, and he used to be like, my fingers are hurting. It's like, you're just pushing little buttons, man. Come on. So I always wanted to play guitar after that, and then I asked my parents for a guitar for Christmas, like a year later. And me and my original drummer Brian, he's from my neighborhood friend or whatever. We've known each other since we were like 5, and we started to get into music after the puppets thing. And so we both asked our parents for instruments, guitars for Christmas. Christmas morning when I was 12, opened up a package. It was about this big. I opened it up and I pulled out a little toy guitar, and I was like,
Oh,
what? And I was so mad. I was so
no.
mad. I was a snotty little kid. I was so mad. And they revealed that was a joke.
Oh,
And then they brought out the real guitar.
oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was a black Strat. It was a Lotus. Black, white pickguard standard Strat. It was a Lotus Strat. Your standard beginner guitar. And like a little amp. What's funny is my brother wanted a bra for his car, and they put a bra in a box. And he opened it up, he was like,
Oh, wow.
so mine was at least a little closer of a joke. And Brian, my buddy, he got an acoustic guitar. So we both had our guitars. Yeah. For a whole year he had to play acoustic, and he hated it. He was like, I don't like guitar anymore. I want a drum kit next year for Christmas. So he got a drum kit. So he started learning drums, same time I was learning guitar, and then kind of went from there.
Oh, nice, nice. Thank you so much for share that story with us. How you start to learn the guitar because you are left-handed, right?
Right. I actually had a guitar teacher for like half a year, something like that. Robert Mullins, I think was his name. I think it was Robert Mullins. He's kind of a blues guy, older gentleman. He did like a lot of like like keeping the bass kind of thing in it. But he taught me pretty much the pentatonic and all the regular chords. And the big debate when I first started out is, should I play left-handed or right-handed? And everybody was like, you should go right-handed. Your guitar availability is going to be way more, because they just didn't make left-handed guitars back then. Like company would have like a Squire or an Epiphone, and that's about it. Because I never could like pick fun guitars and stuff. So they were like, you're going to hate that. Or, and plus it's going to be harder to teach you because everything's backwards. And I was like, well, plus they wanted my dominant hand to be this hand. I guess that they thought I'd need more power down here. And I was like, no, I'm left-handed. I do everything left-handed. Just feels right to be left-handed. Kurt Cobain's left-handed. He's, one of my heroes. I'm going to be left-handed. Jimi Hendrix left-handed. Like, left-handed stand out. So I want to be different. So I got, I started learning left-handed and couldn't find guitars at all. But I think it made my picking hand stronger to have that dominance there. And everybody says it's going to be harder to teach, but for me, it's like when I'm at home looking in the mirror, you know what I'm saying? It's exact. Yeah. So when I'm sitting next to a right-handed guitar player, it's like looking in the mirror. So it's way easier for me. But for them, it's like everything was backwards. They couldn't figure it out. It was breaking their brains. And I was like, but it's the exact same thing. And they're like, yeah, but it's not over here. You know, so everybody kind of felt weird trying to teach me stuff. But, I mean, for me, it was great. It was a good decision. Because, you know, it's what I got at home when I was learning stuff in the mirror is what I got at the lesson. So, you know, and then eventually they started making the left-handed guitars that I could get.
Oh, nice. Well, can we start to talk about that beautiful guitar?
Yeah, this is my baby. Has been since probably 1995, I want to say. Yeah, I got this. I was big James. Before this one, I had that Strat, you know, and then I ended up getting like just a cream colored Strat that I played upside down like Jimi Hendrix, you know, just because it was cheap. I got that, and then I had my parents actually buy me like an $800 left-handed Fender Jaguar because of Gavin Rossdale and Kurt Cobain. I was like, that's really cool, you know. But playing the Jaguar and stuff, it's real thin. It was weak, you know. It was a weak guitar. It felt like a jazz guitar or something. You know, it felt like a rock guitar, not a metal guitar. So that's when I started to really idolize James Hetfield, and you know, he started to play these black Explorers, which looked like the Gibson ones in shape, but they didn't have like the stupid pick guard and stuff on them. Like they were just mean looking. It's like, oh, that's what I want. That's the guitar that I want. Never played one. I'm left-handed. There's no left-handed Explorers around, just hanging out. You know, so I was like, that's what I want. And my parents had already bought me the Jaguar for $800, and I liked that for like a month. And I was like, nah. They're like, oh, you're not getting another guitar you haven't played? It's like, come on, I know I want this one for sure. So they ordered it from a place called Michael's Music in Louisville. And it came in. I remember taking it out of the box and picking it up and going, yeah, this is the one. Everything felt perfect. There was nothing weird about it at all. It felt exactly as if I'd imagined it was going to feel. Oh, nice. And it's kind of gotten me addicted to Explorers. Like just the way the neck is and the way the headstock shape and the way the body flows. Even if I had the Explorer with an upside down headstock, it wouldn't feel like an Explorer to me. You know, there's just something about the way it sits in your hand, like hangs in your hand with that headstock and everything. It's just kind of like, this is the shape. If I have like a Strat or something, it's like, I'm along over here and there's nothing on the backside. So it got me addicted to Explorers. I liked V's too, but you can't sit down with a V really. It's just awkward.
This guitar is before Gibson started.
This is before the lawsuit. So ESP started making this one, I think for like a couple of years because it's all black. I guess James wanted a custom all black one. And everybody started to like it. And then Gibson was like, hey, wait a minute. That's our guitar. You know, nobody was else. Because like Jackson had the Kelly, which, you know, I have one of those in the other room, but it's curvy. It doesn't look like this one. And, you know, BC Rich had all their weird ones, but no one had this one except for Gibson. And then ESP came out, which is direct copy. And they were like, no, you can't do that. Change your body style. You can't do it. Yeah. So a year after this one, like I was excited about this thing. I was like, oh, I'm going to get that every time now. And that was the only year I could get it. Because the year after they went to the bubbly, the little MX whatever's, the pointy ones, which just looked like a girl's Explorer, you know? So you couldn't get this Explorer anymore, you know?
I really love this guitar because it's amazing.
It's just, there's something about it, man. There's something about it. Like even without the pick guard, it's just one big piece of brilliance. You know, it's just something non-standard about it. Something not even aggressive. It's not even, you know, you could play clean tone on this. It's not made for clean tone, but it could be an anything guitar. You know, it's not kind of. There's no level that it stops at. Like a Les Paul can be mean up to a certain level, and it's like, all right, you're playing Les Paul in a death metal band. You know, it looks goofy, but if you play this in any kind of band and look just fine. Except for everybody plays it way up here. I don't know why they do that. If you're going to play an Explorer, you have to play it like James Hetfield. Yeah. You have to.
For sure.
Or you look like a goofball. Or Rick Nielsen, I guess. You look like Rick Nielsen.
What pickers it has?
What? Pickups? Oh. So it came with LTD pickups, which were fine. But, you know, I was young back then. I didn't know the difference in pickups. I wanted the one without the dots. You know, I was like, wow, those look like cheap ones. He has those fancy ones, you know. And then you know, every time those are active. You have to put a battery in your guitar for that. I was like, what? Hold on. I don't have to put a battery in my guitar. I just want it to work. He's like, well, then you can't have active ones. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So then I found out about HZ. EMG started making the passive ones, which are just not active. I guess they're supposed to be almost just as, obviously they're not as hot, but just as hot. And I was like, so I can get, to me it was like a fake EMG, you know? It was a real EMG, but it was like, oh, I'm just cutting corners, you know, I'm getting the HZ. So I got the HZ for it and put it in back before I knew anything about guitars. I didn't put it in. I had a guy at a shop do it, you know? And it came back to me and it was just so killer. It looked more like James Hetfield's and it sounded so great. And ever since then, I've tried other HZs, but I think after trying an actual 81, to me, the HZ besides this one will always be kind of like, you know, because it's in my head now that it's not an 81. But for some reason, this one here, it just works perfect. This guitar, and this pickup sound killer with this amp and this cabinet. It's just it's a three-piece combination killer trio. Like if I tried to play that amp and this cabinet with this guitar,
No.
if I tried to play this amp on that cabinet,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. It just doesn't, for some reason that's the perfect mix because the valve state is real thin, it's real high-endy, and people are like, oh, it sounds too much like a computer, like it's too squealy or whatever. And I'm playing through a 1982 4x12 Marshall bass cab, so it's like 6 inches deeper.
Yeah.
It's like a normal cab's like this. It's like this. So when I play a thinner head through the deeper cab, it gives me that bottom end back. You know, so it's almost kind of like I'm playing through a really high gainy tube head, but I'm not. So it's kind of like a killer trio of just the right circumstances to make that sound.
Okay. Let's do it.
You want to hear it?
Okay. Yeah.
It's really low volume. I'm like, oh, it's not heavy. Those are all terrible riffs. Terrible riffs. Just taking the tone. The strings are probably like 3 years old still, too. I just tuned it a minute ago, I swear to God. But like I like everything about the neck is real tiny. And a lot of people are like, well, then you can't get your fingers on all the strings and stuff. But for some reason you can. I don't know what the deal is. It's like an optical illusion. Well, like Jackson's and Ibanez's, they're real flat like this one is, but their neck is so wide, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, whoa, what's going on? And then to play a Gibson, you're like playing like this. Yeah. It's like a baseball bat. And this one just comes, I can get my whole hand around it and still have plenty of room to not be cramped in the strings, you know? We're like right there. So if I try to do like weird power chords or something, it's nice because I'm not trying to go all over the place. It's like almost like this and this are close to the same, you know, same width, that it's like, it never gets fatter. There's not an uncomfortable spot on the whole guitar. And with newer strings, it sounds in tune. Pretty good for having picked it up after about 3 years of not playing it, and it stays in twos. I like it. The only thing I had to do was, I think I remember this nut slot got ground down somehow, trying to fix like a buzz or something like that too far, and I was just like buzzing right there. So the trick was to take like a little piece of a business card and put it on there, and then put your string back on it and tighten it down, and the business card will fill that slot, and so that slot's now the right size for that string, so it won't be rattling around too loose, or it won't be hitting the frets, you know. That's why that's there. Now that was my bad. That wasn't part of the guitar.
Okay. Can we switch the guitar right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we go to my stage guitar, I guess?
Yeah. Sure.
So I can continue the story. So this was going to be this is my main guitar. This is my guitar. This is my sound right here. So I'm like, man, I can't play that guitar on stage out at clubs. It's gonna get stolen or broken or trashed, and then I won't have it anymore. You know, which is like, but I gotta have a guitar that's cool. If I'm gonna be playing a guitar, it's gotta be solid. It's gotta be just like this one. So I built this one here. I wasn't trying to make an exact copy. I did want a black one, but I also wanted to do a little bit different stuff to it, so I gave it a blood splatter, go blood drip, evil pentagram look to be scary. But this one here I built myself. The neck was not a hockey stick neck. I think it was like a off-brand Gibson style headstock. The body's just pieces of plywood. You can kind of see where it's separating. But for some reason, all the perfect factors went into this one just right too. This is my first EMG 81 I got, because I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a big boy and I'm gonna get the real deal. Even though by now they're old news. Like so many other active pickups I could have picked, but I was like, no, I want the EMG 81. I want that one that I've avoided for so long. Battery and all, I've never changed the battery in this maybe once.
Oh.
In all of like 5 years I've had it.
Wow.
It's not supposed to work like that. So this one's kind of an anomaly. For being a home built guitar, it stays in tune great. Its action's great. It's as close as I can get to that neck. Even though this is like some random cheap guitar, I wish I remembered what kind of guitar this came from so I could find it again. It's so powerful with just that EMG 81. It's already almost twice as powerful as that sounded, you know? It's like... Tune it up. That EMG just kills. It just sounds so killer.
Yeah.
And this is, like I said, it's right. Everybody thinks I have like too much of a, like Dimebag's tone was real fuzzy, you know? And I think this is like the best mix of the Dimebag tone and the James Hetfield tone. Because it's not like I can get a... That's more James Hetfield's tone. You lose all of that zzz and it becomes, you know. But if I crank it up to where it's supposed to be on this amp, there's so much more beat there. There's so much more of a grind sound, you know, so much more of a difference between, and the other one's kind of too uniform. When you palm mute, it's not as noticeable as. No matter what string I'm chugging on. Let's see if I turn it down to where everybody else has. It's like. Sounds just as distorted when I'm doing open chords. You lose all your power. It sounds dumb. It's gotten so old I need to replace this pot, but I'm afraid to, because once I replace it, it's never going to sound the same. They say don't fix what's broken, but this is almost broken. I hadn't tuned this one since last night. This sounds great, you know? Better than the ESP that I tuned just a second ago. So, and I never really touch my tone or volume knob either, so I'm not really worried about it getting all messed up because I never touch it, but now that I touched it, I messed it all up. Just the right space.
Okay, Mike. Well, your influencers are James Hetfield.
Yeah, Metallica a lot.
Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain. Yeah, I mean, Kurt Cobain was great because I related a little bit more to him in the early days because I had the long hair and the blonde, and and I was left-handed, and his attitude of just get up on stage and do whatever. you know, just jam out and not care about a thing, not worry about, oh, my play or you know, he just rocked out all the time, comes around. Like that was the first kind of like, wow, that's killer, you know, that's killer. And James Hetfield, I do more James Hetfield now. I stand a lot more because of the guitar I play. I'm just not very cohesive to jumping around. I say that now, but John Connolly 7 does play as Explorers, and they use trampolines, so. Well, I guess you can jump around with it. I can't. My riffs are kind of plant my feet and headbang.
Yeah.
But yeah. James and Kurt Cobain are really kind of my guys I kind of like, you know, idolize in terms of guitar. Everybody else is kind of cool, but no one ever hit like that. No one ever. I think the frontman part had a lot to do with it too. Since I'm a singer and guitar player, I'm not really a singer. I'm just a frontman. But you know, that's a different kind of world when you do that, because you don't really get to enjoy your guitar as much because you're worried about singing, and you don't get to worry singing as much because you're worried about your guitar. Yeah. So everything's almost at like 80%, as opposed to one being 100, one being 100. You know, but it's fun, you know, being able to do the two things at one time, and be able to express yourself like that, not just be stuck to playing guitar, and maybe try to say something, everything falls apart. You know. So it's cool, but that also takes away my jamming opportunities, because I'm A, stuck to a microphone. I can't be jumping up and down singing, and B, I'm worried about both those things. So when I'm not doing one of those things, then instead of worrying about jumping around, I worry about the other thing I don't have to worry about. You know. Yeah. So when jumping around is not in my head as much as it used to be. Back in the day, we had a singer. We were a 4-piece. We had a singer, and I could headbang just the whole song. It was great. But now I got to stand at a microphone the whole song.
Okay. Because you have two challenges when you was young. First, I want to play guitar, learn guitar, but you're left-handed, right?
Right.
When you just told, okay, the left-handed guitars are expensive, yeah, and you start to create your own guitars, right? How you learn how build guitars?
Well, I learned when I was like 13. I built my first. I don't even remember where I put that one. I built my SG. I built an SG out of plywood and like a. Where did we put that? It's like made out of plywood and like an acoustic. I used to work at a place called Spear Music when I was 16. Well, I guess I was 16 when I built my first one. And we had a bucket of just guitar parts, extra bodies and necks, and there was a Honer neck, which looked like a Les Paul neck. It was really like an acoustic neck. I didn't know that, but I taking it when they were throwing them away. It's like, oh, I want that neck. I'm gonna try to build a guitar and see what happens. You know, so I put what I thought was a Les Paul neck onto like I glued a bunch of plywood together till it was like this thick. I didn't know how thick they were really kind of supposed to be, so like this thick, and then I cut it out. My dad helped me cut it out in the garage. I glued the neck to it, and that was my first. I put like one pickup in the bridge or whatever, and that was my first try, and it was the first successful guitar I ever built. Because I could never afford an SG, and I was a little kid, so I thought they'll give me something to do in the garage or whatever. And I could say I built my own, and so that's when I first built my first one. So when I picked it up again here recently. I remembered that because I had that guitar, you know, and then I was like, man, I can't be taking that to the shows. I don't have another guitar, you know. I have like a Les Paul or something stupid, you know. So what do I want to play? So having the active pickups kind of woke me up to it's all about the pickup and the speakers and stuff. It's not really about what the guitar is made of. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, everybody's making guitars out of bottle caps or resin or whatever. I'm like, well, I can just make it out of anything then. Like, well, I got a bunch of wood in the back. I'll just make it out of wood. You know, it doesn't have to be good wood. It just has to be wood, apparently. So I just started gluing slabs of wood, you know, whatever random wood I had out there. So it might be a part of a cabinet and part of a pallet and part of not like all pine or all otter, just whatever. Whatever I had, slapped it together as the best I could after sanding it down, glued it together. And then I traced that one, you know, to get the body thing. Didn't have a professional stencil or anything. I just kind of traced everything and guessed, you know, kind of looked at it and just thought, okay, that's about 2 inches in or something, and just mark that. And then I just started building them. I'd buy either necks off of eBay for like $45, $50 that are already done. Because there's all kinds of geometry here I'm not even about to start messing with. This, you actually have to know what you're doing. This part, it could be whatever, you know? The only part you have to get right is where this goes, where this goes, and where this goes. Which you think would be hard, but it's just, you know, from here to here, it should be the same from here to there. It's, you know, with some subtle nuances that I learned along the way, like the angle and stuff. But other than that, it doesn't matter what this is made of. So I just started making a bunch of guitars. I got tricked because this one turned out good. So I thought, oh, this is easy. I'm just going to do this all over again. You know, 40 guitars later, there's about 5 that I can play because there's always just something a little bit weird about it. You know, like it just won't hold tune or won't hold intonation for some reason. Or, you know, this worked out great, but then on one I put the pick up a little bit here, and I was like, oh, what? Why does this one sound different? You know, I couldn't figure it out. It's because that was moved. You know, it made a difference and all that. So, it's always trial and error building them. When you're doing it like me, who's impatient and doesn't have a lot of proper materials or skills, there's great guitar builders that build their own guitars they'll spend months on maybe one guitar. I'll spend months on maybe 4 guitars at a time, you know, because I'll get cut in one and then it's got to dry, glue or something like that, and I'll get over on this one and start, you know, that way I kind of have some options. So when I finish, I can choose which one I want to finish, which one I'm more excited about, and go from there. And, you know, I usually play them once or twice. I'm like, that's cool. And then I put it on the wall and I go build another one and build another one. And I haven't been able to capture this type of success yet, even though I keep looking at all the factors and try. And then China opened up the whole patent thing, which was really, I thought was a godsend. I was like, oh, now I can get cheap guitars that are left-handed for a third, fourth, fifth of the price. A $300, I got the Explorer with the wolf inlay, like James Hetfield, from China for $300.
Oh.
Left-handed. And if I were to get that from ESP for real, it'd probably be like a $5,000-$6,000 guitar.
Yeah, it's really it's MX 250.
Yeah, with the wolf thing, yeah. But I mean that custom shop left-handed is the only way I could get it authentically. You know, so I didn't know a lot about the China guitars in terms of, well, it's made in a factory and people sell it, so it can't be too much worse than a real one. You know, what is the difference? Where's the, you know, what's real and what's not real, I guess.
Yeah.
And the Wolf and Man came out great. So I was like, well, this is a good deal. So I ordered the other guitar I always wanted that I never could afford, which is an Iceman, like Jay Younger used to have for White Zombie.
Yeah.
His green with the stars. I was like, that guitar is killer. I want one of those. And they never made a left-handed one, as far as I know, ever. So, I mean, they might have made custom ones, but like they didn't offer that is ever an option. So when I saw China did it, I was like, oh, well, I'm going to order one of those too, you know? So I ordered one of those, and then I realized I could customize it because they kept asking me, because they had to build it after I ordered it, you know? They don't just have left-handed ones just laying around, but they build it for me. So I was like, oh, cool. Can I change the color of it? You know, because I was thinking, I don't want the green one because he's got the green one, you know, like I'll just be a copycat. I want my own version of that. So I asked to make it red. So it's red with stars on it. And they were like, yeah, no problem. No problem. What's actually funny is it took like a 2.5 months, 3 months. They sent me a picture of it. I was looking at it and I was going, this is right-handed. It was red. It was everything. I was like, this is right-handed. And I emailed them back and they were like, oh, you're right. It is right-handed. I was like, no. He's like, we got to start all over. I was like, no way. Oh. So I had to wait like 2.5 extra months for him to do a whole, you know, left-handed one properly, which thank God I caught it, you know. But then, you know, as soon as I got the guitar, it was great. It sounded good, played good. I look at the back of the same website. Now they're offering red one with stars too. So now my signature guitar is just a regular guitar for them. No, man. So they probably made a whole bunch, you know, after I ordered it, and now they got to sell those whole bunch. But so those are my 2 good China guitars. And I thought, well, this is working out great. This is $300. Granted, I had to change pickups. I mean, that's probably where a lot of the money is saved, on cheaper electronics, not well done electronics. So as soon as you plug it in, it was unplayable.
Yeah.
I mean, unplayable. You couldn't. It was a nightmare. I don't know how it even passes a guitar.
Yeah.
So I'd put a regular pickup in there, and then bam, good to go. So I thought, well, I could just start ordering cheap guitars as blanks, you know, And I wouldn't have to waste all money building it. Wouldn't have to guess. Wouldn't have to, it would be consistent every time, and I could just do what I want to the guitar after that. Because it really is all just changing the look of it. Once I found an affordable guitar of the shape, now it's just what do I want it to look like.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I just keep ordering blanks, I can just mess up those finishes, and do my own finish on it, or customize it however I want, and it's only $300. Okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm not paying $6,000 for a custom painted, custom hand carved. I'm paying $300 for something I arts and crafted up. So I'm not upset about it if something goes wrong or something. And then I ordered a couple of those, and they were just not good guitars. One of them came with like the fretboard was like the cardboard composite, and I was like, what? How did I miss this? And I started looking back at the description, and one guitar said, mahogany body, mahogany neck, or whatever. Fretboard rosewood, fretboard ebony. The one I got said a fretboard black. I was like, black's not a material. It's not a wood. So it's basically just a whatever they made it out of. So it's not real wood. So I just keep my eye out for that when I ordered them. But I haven't had a successful swap yet, besides those two, in terms of getting it, putting good parts in it, and it being reliable. I got two other Explorers. I got that white one over there. It's brand new, and the white one over there. They won't hold tune right for some reason. I mean, I built 40 guitars. I should know how to intonate a guitar a little bit, and it's like blowing my mind when I can't get this thing intonated. And they'll strum it, and it just won't stay in tune for more than like a half a song. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, this is so confusing because they feel nice, they look nice. So I'm still on that. Is China good guitars or not? I don't know. For $300, and if you can send it back, I guess it's worth the gamble. But their guitars are all glued in necks, set necks too, which is a nicer neck. But it doesn't give me the option if the neck's messed up to put a different neck on it, and hopefully they salvage the guitar, which kind of sucks on that. I wish for some reason they don't. This is the cheaper option, but they don't do it because it's cheaper, I guess. You know what I'm saying? They don't want it to look cheaper. They want a nice guitar for cheap, so it's all glued in there. So I can't. So if there's anything wrong with the headstock or the neck causing the problem, it's kind of the whole guitar's shot.
Okay. Well, then can we switch the guitar right now?
Yep, we switch guitar. We can go to my next venture, which was finishes, like I was talking about. James Hetfield did Load and Reload or whatever, and he had an Explorer with diamond plate on it, with the metal diamond plate on it on the front. I thought, well, that's metal as hell. You know what I'm saying? That's way more. I got it. That's way more metal than a non-metal guitar. So I was like, I'm gonna put diamond plate on too. And then Dimebag Darrell did a diamond plate. Dean that he plays. He did a diamond plate one of those for the reinventing the steel. He had a diamond plate on the front. Yeah. And I was like, man, everyone's done the diamond plate on the front for two different kind of guitars, I need to step it up. So I was like, I could put diamond plate all over it and see what happens. So I built the Explorer, and then I cut out all the diamond plate. I put it on the front, then I put it on the sides, bent it on the sides, and I put it on the back. And then I picked it up and went, whoa, this is why they don't do that. This is way too heavy now. So I had to rethink that decision. So I took the back off. And what I ended up doing was, anywhere I didn't need wood, I removed the wood. Yeah. So I'd cut it out here, I'd cut it out here, I'd cut it out here, I'd cut it out here. Like anywhere that I didn't need that bulk of weight to be, I just removed it. So this is kind of like a skeleton underneath this. So it's not just a wooden guitar covered in metal. It's kind of like a metal acoustic guitar.
It's like a semi-hollow guitar.
Yeah, like a semi-hollow. But metal is the shell. Everyone's like, well, that's just going to feed back like crazy. You cover a guitar in metal. It's like, well, I mean, active pickups don't have a ground, Like whenever I have an active pickup, there's not like a ground wire I have to screw the guitar anywhere like a normal pickup. So why is it going to feed back if there's nothing to ground it to? So I picked it up, plugged it in, and sounds great. No feedback. It's got a killer tone. Squeals just like it should. I gotta tune it. cool thing about it is it has a nice cold like metal feel to it, you know. And so it's always kind of that one upper. When everybody sees it, they're like, oh, that's cool, and they see the whole thing, and they're like, what? So after this, I did a whole line of them. I said, well, now that I got one of my favorite shape, I need one of every shape. So I made a V, I made a metal Iceman, I made a metal SG up there on the roof. I made a metal Explorer bass for one of my bass players, and then I was gonna make a metal Les Paul. I haven't done that yet. I haven't done a metal Strat. So those are my two left, I guess, to make it to all metal. But yeah, that's the story of this one. So, like again, another Explorer. This neck here is an eBay neck. It's kind of thinner. For some reason, all the eBay necks I looked at were all kind of like the same D shape. They weren't C's, and they weren't like, they weren't like flat or whatever. They were kind of like a wizard neck, but a little fatter. I guess you'd say like an Ibanez wizard, but a little fatter. This one here is just kind of like a standard cheap guitar neck, I guess. It's round, but it's flat all at the same time. You know, it doesn't really have like a defined feel to it. It's just kind of like a guitar. Okay, Epiphone or whatever. It's just like a. But this one here, I mean, it turned out great too. It's one of my other successful ones. Like I said, there's only about 5 that are really gorgeous that work out great. And then from here, so I was like, okay, I like Icemans, I like Explorers. Why can't I have both at the same time?
Oh, wow.
So since I'm building them, I decided to build one. You want to hand me the guitar behind you over there? I know it's way over there. I apologize. It's the only one I couldn't get over here close to us. So I took what I liked about the Iceman, which is the horn, and the front kind of, the big shoulder of it. And I took what I like about the Explorer, just a big wing, It basically has the same horn, but this horn has like the hook on it, which is cooler than just a boring horn. Yeah. And then I put the wing of the back of the Iceman on it. And then since I was used to turning guitars over and hitting the knobs or something like that, or like I told you, I never really touch any of the knobs. I said, no, I'm not going to put knobs on this one. I ordered nice wood, and so I want that nice wood to have nothing obstructing it. So I ordered this book match. I forget what wood it is, but I ordered a book match. It was a real thin sheet. Cost me about $60-$70 for like a sheet of wood, which is crazy. And then I dyed it red, and I did my best to glue it on here. It bubbled up a little bit with the glue because I didn't really know exactly what I was doing. It's a little dirty now, but it looks cool like that. It's like a zombie texture, I guess you could say. But I was like, I don't need any knobs. I never touched the knobs.
Looks like a piece of meat.
Yeah. Like flesh. Like it's like fancy flesh, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was like, I'm going to try my own shape per se, and I figured I'll kind of debut it on one of my own styles of things. I like it. Overall, I like the Explorer better.
Did you watch Stranger Things?
I did not.
No?
Everybody keeps telling me to watch that. Like I look like the cop or something, I guess.
This guitar reminds me Bagman, the monster.
The skull guy or whatever? The scary skull guy?
Something like a skull, but the muscles, it's...
Yeah. Like the meaty flesh and stuff? Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
It's I tried to make it redder as opposed to being so kind of brown, but I think that subtle red is what makes it really evil looking. It gives it that. Just some says like I'm red.
The shape, it's amazing because it's new one, but it's familiar for.
Yeah, I'm not altering an original shape. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight stealing from it, but I'm not using the whole shape. I'm just using the parts that we like about the shape. So I think of the altered ones. I mean, if you take the general shape of the Explorer as is and you cut into it, now it's a different guitar. If you just take the back of it, it is still the back of the Explorer. This is still the front of an Iceman. So if you just ignore that other part, you have the guitar that you wanted. You don't have a different version of it. You have that guitar. I think the way though that I designed it, I should have proportionalized these differently, because the the Iceman feels like it's much more of a broader shape, as opposed to where the Explorer is only big in back, and then kind of gets real skinny in the front. Well, this one is big in the front and in the back because of the way it kind of comes back around. So I should have made this a little bit smaller, more like the Explorer, so that this wing wouldn't feel so undersized.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah.
if I can't really make it bigger because this is gonna be real big. But if I made this a little smaller, I think it might be a little bit more of a, to me anyways. My drummer really likes the shape, and I'm sure if people aren't addicted to the Explorer like I am, they'll probably like the shape too. But for me, like I said, it's not an Explorer at the end of the day. Yeah. I tried to please myself, but it didn't work out. I still like the Explorer. But this one here, it came together well. It's got more. I accidentally put the pickup a little too far forward because I'd used a different kind of bridge to set up, so I wasn't really keen on that was going to change things, you know. And it's a little it's a little warm of a guitar. It won't get very trebly. That's as trebly as it gets, but it has a nice warm sound, which is kind of what it's meant for. You know, it looks like a warm guitar. I got one of the, it's like the brushed chrome EMGs. So instead of just having the straight black one, it's like got the classy one, you know, for the classy of the wood. It's fake binding. It's just tape. It's just a taped off white I painted there. But it's like cracking like the Mona Lisa. So it looks pretty cool. Happy accidents, you know, you gotta enjoy your mistakes or enjoy the punches that are thrown at you. You gotta run with them.
The story about the guitars, the cars.
It's all cracked. Yeah, I meant to make it crack. You know how hard I worked on that crack? I had to research how to make things cracked? That's ridiculous. You're like, really? Like, no, that's not what happened. Yeah, all these guitars I don't really play a lot because I have so many that I had to come home and play the same two, you know, all the time. The two, because when I play at home, I usually record. I'm usually recording. So I try to pick up the ones that sound the best, which will be, you know, my main two Explorers. If I want to get like a different tone, I'll maybe pick up like my Les Paul or something so that when I'm recording, it's not all Explorer. Just mentally, that makes me feel like it's two guitars, you know? And I'll go through a different amp or something to get the second part on there. That way it has that depth of having more than one guitar player. But I usually play like the same, you know, I'll get a niche up my butt and be like, man, I'm gonna play around with this one for a little while. Just have fun at home and then find out what I didn't like about it and then put it back on the wall. You know, but so they're all the old strings. So forgive me for all the guitar players out there. I was like, his strings are so old and it's way out of tune. I know, I know. This isn't about playing. It's about looking.
It's my sound, my character for.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. It's unique. You know. It's like I used to have a piano. It was sat right here, and it was a little bit out of tune. I got it from my neighbors. They were throwing it away, and I strapped it to the back of my truck. And drove it up the street, and then me and my buddy blew it in here, and it was like just a little bit out of tune on some of the keys. And my thought was, man, if I played something on that piano and recorded it, you could only ever play it again on that piano, because you wouldn't know what the out of tune was. You know, it would have that out of tune sound, but you could only play that on the out of tune piano.
Yeah.
And you can't untune a piano to an exact tuning. You know what I'm saying? That would be a nightmare to try to do that. So it's like it's kind of cool, but it's creepy out of tune. You know. But you couldn't recreate it, so it's like, I don't want to do that. You have to sample it. It'd just be a sample forever.
Well, Mike, you said you have two periods, by playing guitar, because you start your career on lights on shows, right? And your first period, you has bands, or
yeah, the first period I was in Descent, same band. That was our main band for all the way through high school and then a little bit out of high school. And after a couple of years doing that, everybody was in the what are we gonna do with our lives kind of situation. And my drummer and singer, this is like before all the Kill Switch and Lamb of God got real big. So what we were playing was more Pantera, and Pantera was kind of on the outs. So there wasn't a big market for the heavy stuff. People weren't really after it. So they were kind of wanting to go lighter, more Nickelbacky, more radio, more rock. And I didn't want to do that with Descent. We were a metal band. That's, heavy as fuck. That's who we were. So they left. We got in the band fight, and they left, and they did their own thing, and then I spent, the rest of the time, a couple months later, looking for another drummer. Couldn't really find a drummer that melded well with what I was doing, and then in that downtime, my old singer, he joined another band, so even that thing didn't work out. That drummer went on another band, singer went on another band, and they were going on tour with some bigger bands, and he was like, "Hey, I need a lighting guy." I was like, "What is a lighting guy?" He's like, "It's the guy that runs the stage lights during a show," and I had no clue what any of that was. I was a guitar player. That's all I knew about stage. Play guitar, plug your amp, and play guitar. And he's like, "Well, you're a musician and you know about computers, so you can probably figure it out." And I was like, oh, that's a tall order. And I was like, "Well, who are you going on tour with?" He's like, "Seven Dust." I was like, "That's one of our idols." And I was like, "I'm there. Whatever you want me to do, I'm there. I can hang out with Seven Dust for a whole month. Let's do it." So we got in their van, the 15-passenger van with their nice trailer and everything, and we went on tour with Seven Dust for a month, and that was killer. And then I was showing my 5 light buttons. And we opened the whole show or whatever. So we were the openers. We only got 20 minutes or something to play, and I pressed my 5 light buttons, red, green, blue, and rocked it out, and that progressed into us going on tour with 3 Days Grace, and Breaking Benjamin, and Seether, playing arena shows and stuff like that. I was the guy that loaded all the gear. I was the guy that ran the lights. I was the guy that made sure everything was set up. Well, they got to go play rock stars, and that's kind of why I put the guitar down, is because it was hard to do non-rock star stuff while still actively wanting to be a rock star, So to do what I needed to do for that band, I had to not worry about guitar. There wasn't a lot of time to play guitar. I'm left-handed, so I couldn't just pick up a guitar. So I just focused on doing the lights, and I stopped playing guitar for about 10 years probably. I'd pick it up every now and then, but I just stopped playing it, like as if it didn't, because it's either all or nothing for me kind of thing. I didn't want to play guitar at home and be like, "Oh, I wish I was doing this for real now," and then go back out with rock stars that are doing it for real and be like, "Oh." So I wanted to be the good lighting guy. That's what I am now. I'm a lighting guy, And I figured during that I could build my relationships, build my professional relationships in business, get to see what goes on, my experience, kind of live that life through doing that. I wasn't on stage, but being the lights to me is not like being a guitar tech. Because being a guitar tech, you're just changing strings, you're just doing menial tasks. Being the lights, if I mess up, the whole audience sees that I messed up. So I'm kind of part of that band, Yeah. Whatever they see is on me. I'm not pressing play, just letting something happen. Like I'm pressing the lights to the beats. Anything that happens on stage is my fault. So it's a lot of pressure to do that, but that's how I got my creative fix out of justifying not being a guitar player. I'm still creating something. I'm still impacting this crowd with something that I'm creating. So that was okay. But after about 10, 15 years of that, it's like, I want to get back on stage. Like I want to do the guitar thing. Like, I watched too many bands that didn't deserve it or didn't work hard enough for it or just weren't good get real far while I'm sitting here doing nothing. Like, man, I'm hanging out with famous bands, but I'm not hanging out as a musician. I'm hanging out as a lighting guy, and I am a musician. So I had to cut ties with that and swap my thoughts. So that's when about 5 years ago I picked the guitar back up, and a buddy of mine had found our metal CD, and he's like, "You did this?" I was like, "Yeah, a long time ago." Those are old days. He's like, "Man, this is pretty badass shit. Why don't you do it now?" I'm like, "Because no one can play that shit. I can't find a drummer. Like, it's impossible." He's like, "I can play that." I was like, "All right, you play it, and we'll do it." You know what I'm saying? You show me you can play it, we'll do it. So about a year later, he's like, "Hey, I'm ready to do this. I'm jamming. I'm ready to do it." So he pulled his drum kit up, set it up, and we jammed out. I was like, "Okay, I guess we're doing this again. This is gonna happen." So I got my other lighting guy from House of Blues. He was doing audio at the time. Dylan was our other guitar player. During COVID, we had nothing to do with House of Blues. So once we got the drummer, we're like, "Well, let's just start jamming then." So he came over. He played guitar, and I didn't know he was that good of a guitar player. I was like, "Oh, you can play this stuff too?" Like, all right. So we joined there and started jamming. And then the bass player from all the bands I was doing lights from that Never Set, I asked him, I said, "Hey, we don't have a bass player. We're about to make a record. Will you learn these songs, and just play 4 songs?" He's like, "Yeah, no problem." It's like, cool. So he learned the songs, and then that was it. We were a band. It's like, well, now we got to record. And then right as we got the songs ready to record, something like that, drummer passed away. Oh. Yeah, so we were back at square one again. That because he was the driving force behind, hey, we can do this again. So we were gonna have a memorial for him, and I thought we need to complete this cycle. We got this far, so I reached out to my old drummer, the one from 20 years ago, and I said, "Hey, we're going to have a memorial. We got 4 songs. You know, will you come learn these songs and play them on his drum kit? You know, kind of to honor him, get his drum kit on the recording so he's in it, you know. He's like, sure, no problem. So we started jamming with him, came over to learn the songs, and then the memorial kind of just fell through. It didn't happen like we planned on it. And so we just kind of kept jamming. We didn't have like an end date, you know. Yeah. And after a while, we were just like, you want to just be in the band again? And he's like, all right, I guess we're going to be in the band again. So we started the band over again, and that was cool for about 2 years, and then everybody realized that they are adults and they don't have time to be in a band anymore. And I've been living on the road as a rock star for my whole life still. I never grew up, so I have all the time in the world to be in a band, and they just like, we don't have time, so they kept dropping off one by one. Now it's just me again doing my band thing with their parts. So it's an endless struggle. Guitar is at the forefront of it always.
Well, can we switch the guitar?
Yep. And I'm not a shredder. Oop. I'm more of a James Hetfield, like I said. So a Floyd Rose, to me, is just cool to have. But I don't like, not important. You know, I don't really know how to use it. Because when I used to chug, I'd always go out of tune. I'm like, why is it doing that? It's like, you can't put your hand on that. It's like, oh, well, why? Because it moves. This has another HZ in it, because I was still trying to not have to have an 81. So I got an HZ. It's the only other HZ that sounds anywhere near as good as that first one. It's not the greatest. It's not 100% awesome. It's 98% awesome. You know, which is still pretty good. It's the China guitar. This pickup here sounds terrible. A big muff is on it or something. When this is loud, this one does nothing but squeal. So I just kind of use that as like a kill switch.
Oh.
That works right there. And then this one better be in tune because it's got the logging nut on it. It's probably my number 3 guitar, I guess you could say, in terms of guitars that I think are reliable, that I like to play. I've used this on a couple records, a couple of the songs on the records to get that different tone. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't play. Probably the biggest thing is I don't really play Floyd Rose a lot, and since I tune during the show, I tune up to standard for a couple songs. I can't do that with this one. It's too much of a pain in the ass to do that. So this one kind of gets used sparingly when I need that one tuning that it happens to be in at the time. This is, like I said, this is another China one that turned out really good. I wouldn't mind playing it at shows and stuff. It's really light and thin, and it too is exactly how I thought it was going to be before I ever touched it. You know, it actually kind of feels a little bit bigger, I think, than what I thought it was going to be. But it has that perfect, almost the same contour feel in my hands as the Explorer does, even though the headstock's not quite the same.
Yeah,
it is kind of cooler it being 3-on-3 as opposed to a regular like Ibanez headstock. It gives it more of a custom shop feel, I guess. But for some reason, it just works on this guitar. It's like someone took a Les Paul and smashed an Explorer into it, you know? And you got the best of both worlds. The guy from System of a Down uses one too, and that's pretty cool. I didn't know Paul Stanley used one of these because I didn't like Kiss back in the day. So when I got the guitar, this was White Zombie's guitar. And everyone's like, oh, you mean the Paul Stanley guitar, the Kiss guitar? And I'm like, no, not the Kiss guitar. What are you talking about? And then I looked and I was like, oh, it is the Kiss guitar. Crap. Like, I didn't realize that's who made it famous. You know, I was like, dang it, man. It is his guitar, which Kiss is fine now. But, you know, back then the leotard and stuff like that, it's like, I don't want that guy's guitar. I didn't realize Jay had just put stickers or whatever all over his Paul Stanley guitar. But this one sounds great. It feels great. It's got a little bit of a wider neck, you know, more like an Ibanez neck. But it's not flat like an Ibanez neck is on the back. It's still got a little bit of a round like the LTD. When I first started playing the Floyds, it's just I would always do that because I didn't know, and it was always slightly out of tune or something. I was like, why is it not missing? I had to learn to be real delicate up here, which kind of made me more precise. But it just, it was an adjustment. And I can't do like squeals. I don't know how to do it. I'm not a solo player. I don't know how to do it. And it is China, so this little pin here sticks out too far, so I can't go back because it hits the guitar.
Sure.
So I'd have to either cut that off or route that out a little bit more if I wanted to, or just get a smaller one, a smaller pin there. That's so much I don't play. All these guitars are all dusty. This sounds great. I like the tuning stability because I hate tuning, But I try to do this on a stop, tailpiece. I have a couple, but I don't put the things in them because it just doesn't make any sense if I can't fix it down here to have it up there, because I'd always be unscrewing it and always unscrewing it. And then once you screw it down, it kind of changes the tuning anyways. So you have to have it over here. Otherwise, you just have to have it off tune and then screw it down and hope it goes back to tune. So if this is just a stop tailpiece like I can't use locking, so I just gotta hope it's in tune when I pick it up. But yeah, so from this one to my built ones, I don't really have a lot of nice guitars. I just have a lot of guitars that do the job. They're like Kias inside of Lamborghini bodies.
Well, it's a beautiful guitar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really beautiful guitar. Yeah.
Like I said, I like this red. I think to me is really turned out really cool. It's kind of like a metallic, like a boat red or a car body red, which I think is really neat. Makes it a little bit more evil, more of a less of like a monster, more like an evil clown. I guess you could say. But yeah, and I threw this goes on a car, but I just threw it on there because it worked out well. I originally wasn't going to put anything on it, and I was like, I got to customize it a little bit more,
Well, Mike, this is the hardest part of the podcast. I don't know why, but no,
You know why. You know why.
understand why across the episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is your favorite album ever?
Overall, like from the beginning of life to now, it's changed, but I think the most consistent one would be Testament: The Gathering. That is like the perfect, because they were thrash. They started to get heavy, and then they were like the perfect amount of not Cookie Monster heavy and not too weak, whiny, thrashy. Where his voice was killer. They had Dave Lombardo on drums. The drums were killer. They had James Murphy on guitar from Obituary. The guitar was killer. It's like a perfect mesh of everything. And it was so underrated because it was almost like their Black Album, I think, because everybody was expecting them to be thrashy and more Megadeth, more old school style, and they came out with like a heavy hitter. It was just so solid. Every song on it is a ripper. The tone is great. Compositions are great. The guitar work is great. You can't go wrong with that. We used to listen to at least one or two songs of that every time before we go on stage. That was our jam. It used to be like Metallica stuff, but you go through all your phases with Metallica, and then you kind of wear yourself out. If you like all the albums, you can't like them all at once. So you gotta like them all kind of for different reasons. So I like parts and pieces, all of them, but I'm kind of wore out on them, just because they all. Since they all had different pinnacles, it can never one can't grab you as that's the one. With Testament, there's one. I like some of the other ones that are they're good, but there's one where I'm like, that's the Testament album that you have to listen to. That's the fucking album, right? That's the. And in 2001, I think when it came out, it was so underrated, it kind of got lost in the mix, and not a lot of people know about it. The other album that I think would be just you got to put in and listen all the way through would be Unearth, Oncoming Storm. That album is their guitar. They play 7 strings, but I didn't learn until later. But they're so sick, and live, they're running around drinking beers, jumping off amps, and they don't miss a. So how are they doing that? They're crazy. I remember when I first heard Oncoming Storm, me and my buddy were in college and we had to finish our project up early so we could go downtown and see them play. And by the time we got down there, it was already a line too long. It sold out. So we just got the album from the store, from Blockbuster Music, went to the house, got a case of beer, and just listened to it like 10 times in a row and just drank beer all night. And it got ingrained in our brains. And there's just so much energy in that album. It's like the newest metal. It's not new metal that I really think captures the spirit of metal, you know. It's just the raw melodies and the raw energy and power, and nothing's cheesy, nothing's goofy. But yeah, they play 7 strings, which is fine. You can play some stuff on, I don't know, because I guess they tune kind of low, but it doesn't sound like that. It doesn't sound like a 7-string player, you know. It's not like gent or anything like that. It sounds like metal. They're killer guitar players, Buzz and Ken.
Nice.
But yeah, so those Testament and Unearthed, which probably are odd choices. I want to say Metallica or Pantera so bad, but it's just like, there's other ones I think I'd listen to more all the way through.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mike. And what album do you recommend for guitarists to, hey, listen this album because...
Any Nirvana or Metallica album that's early. Like Black Album and before. After the Black Album, the songs got weird. They're not straightforward. Like, you know what I'm saying? The riffs are all weird. Kirk does weird stuff. You don't know what's going on. But from Kill 'Em All to Black Album, I mean, it's just power chords. It's the easiest thing to get and not feel like you're playing, you know, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Same thing with you know, Kurt Cobain songs. There's, you know what I'm saying? Just this simple, kind of get you used to the guitar and get you used to how you can put chords together to make songs and not have to know all kinds of crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because the power chord you can put anywhere. And a lot of bands, like punk bands, you know, where you can't really listen to that and kind of hear what they're doing, because it's all kind of going so fast, it's just nonsense. You don't really learn a lot there. But I think how Metallica does it and Kurt Cobain does it, they really deliberately place it places, and you're not trying to figure out what kind of weird things people are doing, you know, on just like Stone Temple Pilots or something, or, you know, like we were just watching earlier, Muse, where it's like, what are they even playing? You know, it might be your favorite song, but you know, you might be going like this. You'll never be able to figure that out, you know, just as a new guy. So to pick up songs and to go, hey guys, I can play this song, and play it, and your friends not go, ah, it would be a Metallica or a Nirvana record for sure.
Okay, thank you so much, Mike. Well, I want to talk about Decent.
Okay.
Yeah, I listened your 2 EPs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you launched this year, and
Well,
last.
the second one came out just like a couple days ago. The first one came out in 2023. And those were, like I said, the culmination of what we stopped 20 years ago. We kind of just picked right back up, thinking that, you know, now that we've had 20 years of experiences and knowledge, and we've seen how trends have done this or done that, you know, we'll do these songs that we wrote back then. Do they hold up? How are they going to last, and whatever? And we still loved them. We played them. We still loved them. Everybody seemed to love them when we played them. It's like, we can record them ourselves now. You know, we can capture them how they were supposed to be captured with this technology. It doesn't sound like a demo. We're not spending $1,000, you know, half a song to get it done. We spent $1,000 on the whole record. So we picked the 4 best songs, because we couldn't really afford more than that. And everyone nowadays is, you know, worried about singles and stuff. So the 4 that we learned before Kevin died were the 4 that we were going to go with our record. That goes the 4, just the 4 songs, and see how it goes. So we did those songs. Me and the drummer, we recorded them here. Because we were like, you know, back in the day, it was like, you had to go to a studio. That's it. There's no other option. Or it was a garage recording. Well, nowadays, people are making records with their, you know, movies with their iPhone and records with their laptop. So it's like, we can do that. You know, we can figure that out. So it took us about a year to trial and error, YouTube videos, you know, what kind of gear are we going to need? How can we get away with not having the best gear, you know? And just like with the pickups, I realized it's all in. It's not all in the afterwards, what you do to it, but a lot of it is. You know, you can shine up a lot of shitty recordings with the right tools, or get what you need to get without going overboard on the clarity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For metal, there's a lot of forgiving areas of that because it's just so distorted and so raw, you can get away with not having a crystal clear, you know, top of the line, everything's quiet, acoustically treated room recording. And, you know, we've learned about drum sampling. You can sample drums, you can change the kit, stuff like that. We didn't do any quantizing or any of the magic, the fixes people do now, which make it better. It doesn't make it more better. It just makes it more computer right, you know? It takes away all the life. If you can't play the part, don't play the part. You know, don't try to tease people and say you can't play the part. We try to capture what we can do on the record is our live show. You know, there's no difference in the two. You're not going to be like, oh, it sounded better here, it sounded better there. It's like pretty much the same thing you're going to get. You know, if you turn it up in your car, it's going to sound like you turn it up in front of us. You know, so we try to do that. We sample blended the kit so it still had his sounds, his hits a little bit, so it wouldn't just sound like samples. But we knew in a non-acoustic treated room, we weren't gonna get the best results. We didn't want another demo, you know. So we did our best to clean all the tracks up, got them as you know what YouTube told us we were supposed to do, and we started shopping around for producers around here, because you know we had you know Pantera's from here, so there's all kinds of people that worked on their records and stuff. I'm sure you know who they are. They just weren't what we were looking for in the end. We felt like we weren't quite getting our message across to them, and they were kind of already established in what they do. So I was on Facebook, scrolling through Facebook, and saw an ad for Skulltone Studios, which is a German studio over in Germany. And, you know, Nino, the guy on there, his ad was like, hey, you know, are you a metal band that is done recording, but you need your stuff to basically sound better or whatever, you know? And we were like, that's what we want to do. That's right there. You know, we want to send them our stuff, what we did, and let them finish it. Because we got it, after about a year, we got it sounding really good. Way better than we thought we were going to get it sounding. Like, we were impressed, but it didn't have that shine on it yet, you know? It wasn't done. It sounded really good, but it wasn't done. So we knew it could sound really good. Because it doesn't now, we don't know certain things to do. That's that, how do you know it's going to sound better? Well, because we know we're not done with it, you know? We know for sure we're not done with it. Yeah. But it sounds awesome right now. So whenever it's done, it has a lot of potential to sound awesome. So we sent it to them, and you know, they did the video call where we could help mix the first song kind of together. Yeah. So they could be like, more of this, less of this, you know, and they kind of applied that to the rest of the songs. And it took them a month or two, you know, to kind of do that. And they sent it back, and that's the first record. It sounded great.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds
like,
really massive.
Yeah, and not raw, but raw.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't sound like all the bands that are really polished and really, like, it sounds like somebody took a computer to their music, you know? And this is almost sounds like a really good
it's like,
live recording.
It reminds me like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Because all the instruments was record and sounds bigger, but not, you don't add a lot fake instruments.
Right.
Like,
yeah, there's not a lot of atmosphere. There's no atmosphere instruments.
Yeah. It's just the sound of the band.
Right. For sure. Yeah. We did I played all the guitars because that's what was suggested to us for the recording, is the one guy needs to play all the guitars. And then, you know, learning that James Hetfield played all the rhythms on his. And when you think Lamb of God, you know, they respectively, if they wrote that song, that guy would play all the rhythms. If the other guy wrote the song, he'd play all the rhythms. So all the good records recorded, one guy did the one part, and if there's an extra part, the other guy could do the extra part. But so I recorded all the guitars on the records, and we just did 2 on each side. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe if we had like just a part that needed to be under it or something like that one of us would end up playing live, but we didn't want it to be real loud, we would add that on there, maybe in the center or something. Yeah. There's not really a lot of solos or anything. There's like just, you know, bass on it and then the drums. The only thing you could say is extra is the vocals, and that's just because there's backup vocals in the vocals on the record, but there's no backup vocals live. Live is just me screaming. So the backup vocals we have are minimal in terms of there's not a lot that like isn't there when you hear the song live. You know what I'm saying? It sounds the exact same song.
Yeah, because I see you guys.
Yeah.
And the day I meet you. Yeah, and sounds really great. And I get impact when I saw you with the concept of music and the art on the performers, the performance,
Right. With our
because
light stuff. Yeah.
you have some schools and
Oh
like
yeah.
X's.
No,
X.
it was two scythes,
Uh-huh.
like scythes they were crossed
Yeah.
behind. It's two giant ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Well, that's
sounds
that.
really
Yeah.
great. And oh wow, that's a performance. And
That's the beauty of playing live because, I mean, first off, bands nowadays they just kind of get up there and whatever they're wearing or whatever, and they just play a show real quick and then they get off, and it's not. They don't bring anything to it, you know. And you can do that at home. You can just listen to the CD at home if that's what you're worried about. But when I was not doing the guitar stuff, I was rapping, and I also worked for King Diamond, who when I worked for him, we set up a whole mansion on stage, and he did like a play. It was a whole play. I didn't have, I wasn't thinking about that for metal, but with rap, when I get on stage, there's nothing on stage with me. There's no amps, there's no drum set. It's just me on stage with a microphone. I'm like, this is weird. I'm used to having all kinds of stuff. So I thought, all right, well, there's nothing on stage with me. I'm going to make cool stuff on stage to jump around on. So I started building, like, I built 2 giant shotguns, and then I pulled a pile of shotgun shells, and I stand on it, and I have a chainsaw and a mask, and I would be rapping like that. I was like, this is a lot more fun. It's like a playground, that 15 or 30 minutes on stage is my time to unleash everything. That's my moment. And, I'm not on that stage. I'm not in that venue. That's just where we are right there. You're Metal Mike's world right there, So for us, we wanted to make sure we had not goofy props and stuff. Like I had, magic tricks and stuff like that because I had nothing else to do besides walk around and sing. But this way, we wanted to have a look. Whenever we got on stage, it transformed into like a battlefield. It transformed into a different world, and you knew that was us on stage just by how the stage looked. And since I'm a lighting guy, I knew we had to have lights. It really makes the show night and day. You know what I'm saying? If you know the songs, great. If you don't know the songs and you have lights, it's gonna look stupid. It's gonna be like, what's happening up there? So I was like, I can't have that. So we just chose to do all white, and I just have the skull piles, which is like made of milk jugs or whatever, and then I put the lights with a kind of a sound chase in that. So as we play, it'll flash to our music. So it looks like someone knows our music.
yeah.
And it's only white, so we're not worried about weird colors happening, whatever. It's just kind of it just kind of emphasizes the beat, It emphasizes the feel of what you're hearing, and it keeps your eyes on track without having to mix signals, And then we just set them up and plug them in, and all of a sudden we have a light show. But so that doubles as you see the piles of skulls, we're about to, kill it. And then the skulls, you don't see the lights, you just see skulls happening, and you see a metal band on stage, and it all wraps into the whole image, If you don't have a whole image, and you're cutting out half of the enjoyment of your fans, You know what I'm saying? And since I've been doing it for 15, 20 years, I know how to set things up real quick, or I can build something that tears down like that, or whatever. So it's not like I'm wasting a lot of time setting all that stuff up. And we also have the full stacks on stage too, which is a big decision that we made because we don't need that everywhere we play. I mean, people are like, "What are you doing?" It's like, it's about the look, it's about the stage, it's about the presence. Yeah. All we do is sit back and we see all the marshals on the stage, and it's like, that's fucking awesome. How'd they afford all that? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? How are they all plugged in? It's like, some of them weren't. I mean, Valentine plugs all his in, But a lot of them weren't. They were just dummy cabs or whatever. That was okay. We didn't need the volume, but it just looked awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to do that, I went out and bought all the cabinets I could, so my guitar player would have some on his side. I found one that matched mine, so we'd have one on my side. It's like, we're going to, every show, it doesn't matter how big, how small, we're bringing our stacks. Because now you're the band with the stacks. Oh, you guys have those big stacks. It's already paid for itself. But, in all reality, it's a lot extra to carry.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Well, do you have some gigs?
I do. We were playing December 19th is the Yuletide Christmas Metal show up at Haltom Theater. I think third string Mike Zemer is doing a Havoc Fest at Haltom Theater on the 27th of December. And then the 30th of January is a Metal Fest up at Haltom Theater. I don't only play Haltom Theater. I just really like playing Haltom Theater. And they've been the most catering to all of local music lately. It's just more fun kind of to play down there. Chaz is a killer dude. So everybody that books just happens to book down there right now. And those are 3 shows. I just played a show at Reno's last week. And before that, I mean, we played, Cheapsteaks. We played, I think it was Rob's before it went down. We played Trees a bunch of times. I mean, we'll play anywhere and everywhere when it comes down to it. You've got the right setup, let's rock, if the right bands are there and the right audience wants to hear us, let's rock. Big or small, but Haltom's kind of where my main gigs are at right now. So Fort Worth people, you better be out there.
You know it.
You know it.
Okay, Mike, if the people want to contact you to talk about guitars, or maybe you build a guitar, or contact you for a gig,
For sure.
what is your
Or if there's any drummers out there that play drums, or I know where I'm gonna need some more members. You can contact me on all the socials at Descent Metal Band, like DESCENT, like the movie in the video game. Like, you want a metal band? We're a decent metal band, So at all of them is Decent Metal Band. My email is decentmetalband@yahoo.com, and that's pretty much it. So you can go to Decent Metal Band. I think it goes to our Shopify right now, which I'm trying to switch over to our website. We do have merch and stuff. You can buy it, custom order if you want. But Decent Metal Band, anything, Instagram at Decent Metal Band, Facebook Decent Metal Band, YouTube Decent Metal Band. Which should pull you right up to us.
On the description will be there, all your social.
Yeah, for sure. And, there's other Descents out there, which was kind of, oh man, 20 years later, if somebody got our name, but if there was only one, we would have changed our name. But since there's like 2 or 3, come on, it's up for grabs. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be Descent to it. You guys aren't on this thing. We were Descent in 1999, all right? Come on. So we went back with Descent. It just felt right. So, but if you see other Descents, just make sure, I can't say make sure it's the Decent Metal Band Descent. From America, from Texas, Dallas, Texas.
Well, Mike, I really appreciate your time. It's a really great story.
Thank you. I appreciate your interest. That was only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, but it's really interesting how a person like you just are really passionate about the music, the art. You show me all the stuffs are you doing. You have a lot more guitars.
It's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing and a curse. Doing everything is awesome because you can do everything, but after a while it's like, I don't want to do everything.
I really appreciate your time and show me your guitars, tell your story for us, for the subscribers, and thank you so much for accepting.
Thank you, man.
This invitation. And
thanks for being interested. Not a lot of people want to hear the story.
I hope see you soon on Halton Theater, or
for sure,
or another part.
Yeah, or even an arena someday.
Yeah,
you'll be on the list. Come on in. Hopefully soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, I hope you love this story for Mike Ames. Thank you to being here. Subscribe, comment, and I see you on the next episode with another amazing guitarist. This is Guitar Memories. Keep playing.
Keep it metal.